So then, this episode, yeah, this one's a little bit different. You'll understand why when I get into it. Hello guys, and welcome to Dreaming is Possible here with Chesterfield, and I'm going to do something a little bit different because we've already won the Premier League. Now, I've played the game that we had in hand, which was against Aston Villa, and as you can see, we won that game by 3-0. Pretty convincing. It wasn't like, we weren't too pressed in that at all, like sort of thing, but yeah, we won that one 3-0. We've got 3 games left of the season, but the main thing that I think that is gone through the theme of this particular season is whether or not the Manchester clubs are going to get relegated, and that is what is really bizarre about this whole situation, isn't it? So, like I said, there's 3 games left that we've actually got ourselves, like, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, and as you can see, the majority of the other teams have as well. There's a couple in here that have still got like a sort of a game in hand in that. But what I was going to do is I'm just actually going to skip through them to find out if Man United stay up, if Man City go down, if Leicester, who are the teams that are actually going to get relegated, because like I say, we've already won the Premier League. That's done. Hope you're all right with that, you know what I mean? I might throw in a couple of goals if they're pretty good or whatever, or just a little splattering of things, but really I just want to get things through sort of just to get these games done to see how it all pans out, because it'd be absolutely huge if one of them or even both go down. I mean, that's the situation. So I hope you don't mind. Let's see how it all pans out, shall we? So, here we go. Man City are away against Aston Villa. That's and then we've got Arsenal are away to Manchester United. So that's a big game there. But United are at Old Trafford, so they're going to be hoping that their fans get behind them. Leicester also there. They're playing Fulham. So we know what Fulham did to Manchester United. Will Fulham still be out? Because they technically can still survive. So we'll see how this all goes. So it looks as though, Manchester United are going to be relegated. 3-1 defeat to Arsenal. They have got 2 games left. They can only get 6 points from those games, and as you can see, they are 7 points away from survival. Yeah, Manchester United amazingly have been relegated, and as you can see, Manchester City have now dropped into the relegation because wow, the results here, with Leicester, Fulham, probably with the goal difference you'd probably say Fulham are gone as well. With Leicester, it looks like Rafa Benitez has managed to sprinkle a little bit of his stardust on the situation and has managed to pull them out of it. I mean, I'm sure Manchester United would have preferred to have had Rafa than the sort of manager that they've managed to pick up on. It just hasn't gone well for them at all. They brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. After 7 weeks they fired him. I mean, I don't know, it's all gone very, very wrong. And as you can see, Watford getting a result there against Bournemouth, which is a fantastic result for them, which has helped them immensely, putting them into a position, whereas Manchester City could only draw with Aston Villa, which means that they have dropped into that relegation zone as well. As for the likes of us, we lost. It's very rare that we do. That's only our 2nd defeat of the season in the Premier League. But like I say, I'm not too fussed. I put out a side that's not really doing, we've got decent players, but I'm giving other players a chance is what I'm saying, and fair play to Everton, they managed to get a result against us. But Manchester United are gone, and will Man City be joining them? I mean, this could be could you imagine this in real life? It'd be just, oh man, this would be absolutely, for me, would be fantastic. But you know what I mean? It's just, it's mad, absolutely mad. But there we go. Let's move on to the next game then. So, after the demise of Manchester United, will we see Man City follow them? Well, there's a huge game, isn't it? Look at this. Manchester City are playing Leicester. That is a massive, massive game for both sides there, to see if they can survive in this. Man United aren't playing on the Saturday, they'll be playing, but they're already down, so it's not an issue. Fulham have got a slim chance of obviously still surviving, but they've got to score a lot of goals to do that, but they're up against Wolves Wolves. As for us, we're playing Burnley, but like I say, it doesn't really matter about us. It's all about these other games, which is just mad. But let's see how this one pans out. So it's good news for you Man City fans out there at the moment, it is anyway, because you managed to get the result against Leicester. Watford, I forgot all about Watford, but they lost to Norwich, which like puts them into the relegation zone. But as you can see, it's all going to go down to the final game of the season. Yeah, you've got a situation where even West Ham now have been dragged into this situation, because if they don't win their game that they've got in hand there, they could be on the final day of the season embroiled in this relegation battle, which is like mad. But yeah, it's Watford have got to win and hope that other teams like lose. That's the only way that they're going to survive. But yeah, Fulham obviously, yeah, they had to produce an absolute miracle, but it wasn't to be. I was just trying to figure. I wasn't sure who Man City had actually in charge, and I went and checked, and I thought, who is this guy, Pascal Gastien? No wonder they're playing so poorly. I mean, who? I don't even know where was he? Rennes. Why have they appointed him? I don't understand where he's come from. He's done all his looks like lots in France or whatever, but I'm not sure why they appointed him. And when did they actually appoint him? 2027. So it was last season that he came in, and yeah, bit of a strange one. Let's see with the final game then of the season whether Manchester City are still going to be playing in the Premier League next season. So here we are, final game of the Premier League season for season 9, yes, and we're up against Bournemouth. I mean, but that's not the issue, is it? No, the big one is, will Leicester or Manchester City, will one of those two possibly slip out of the Premier League? Well, Manchester City are up against West Ham, who have actually been drawn into this this actual sort of relegation battle now. So yeah, that's interesting as well. It's a huge game, that is. Man City are away in that one, so they've got to really be on it for that. Watford who also are down there, and they're actually the team that's in that relegation spot. I will show you the table just in a sec, but they're against relegated Fulham. Now, how is that going to go? Are Fulham going to be trying to upset things? I don't know. Watford have got a good chance there because they are at home to sort things out with regards to that. Leicester, though, tough. Yeah, Chelsea, that's who they've got, you know what I mean? But it's in their own hands if Leicester get a result there. But it comes down to Watford, really, because if Watford don't win, then it's irrelevant what all the other results are anyway. It all comes down to whether Watford actually beat Fulham. If Watford do beat Fulham, then it gets all a bit sort of how are the other results? And like I said, I'm going to show you the actual league table. Yeah, as you can see, obviously Manchester United and Fulham are already gone, but it's that final spot, and they're on 32 points. That's what Watford are on. Manchester City and Leicester both on 33, and then you've got West Ham that are on 34. So if, for example, Watford were to win, and then it all comes down to the other three of whatever results they get. Let's find out, shall we? Yeah. Could we see both Manchester clubs go down? I mean, that would be historical. I mean, it's historical in the fact that Manchester United have already gone, hasn't it? You know what I mean? But so I thought I'd just throw in the highlights of the final game of the season, just to give you something to look at more than me just rabbiting with some stats and things like that. So I just thought I'd throw this one in right at the end here. So we got our lineup is Horn in goal. We got Cruz back from his injury. He's in his rehabilitation. So he's working his way back to getting to match fitness. We've got Rifi, Iliovsky and Piana are in there. Dreyer and Diswelski are in the midfield. Warner, Appleby, Baptista are the front sort of three, with the obviously advanced forward of Verskogen, and that's how we line up in this one. So it was a chance in front of our home fans to go out of the season. We are Premier League winners, obviously, and we could maybe put on a little bit of a show here. Bournemouth are they playing for anything in particular? Just looking, not really, just position in the league. I'm just looking at the league table there, but yeah, they can't get into top 6 or anything like that. So it's a chance as Cruz puts that one in. And there we are, we're off to a great start as Kyle Warner, who's had a fantastic season with his 20th goal of the season coming in off that left-hand side. And yeah, he's just turning into more and more of a world-class winger every time he gets on the field, like, you know. So I'm so looking forward to seeing what's in store for him next season, and hopefully he can push us on to getting the Champions League. You know, that's what I'm hoping to, like, you know, win next season. That's what we're hoping to, like, be going for. We've won the, like, Premier League a couple of times now. We need to get, like, good old big ears, don't we? We need to go and get, like, the European trophy. That's what I'm going to be, like, you know, sort of working on for next season. That's the main trophy that we'll be definitely going for. I mean, the board will probably say that they want us to win all 4, but no, you know, obviously we want to defend our Premier League crown, and we've still got the FA Cup yet to play in this season. But yeah, Champions League is the one that I definitely want to win, like, next season. Baptista now just lays this off here to Appleby, gets it back from him, and a nice 1-2, and Verskogen has sneaked in here, and they've, like, you know, just that's great play from him. He's actually back, you know, he's been getting in the goals a couple of times here. He's got himself his 35th goal of the season, and I think that's his 25th in the Premier League, which yeah, it will probably give him the golden boot, like, you know. But a lovely little play here, and just a poor sort of back pass without, you know, they played it blind. Verskogen's coming off his shoulder and he's not even seen him, and sneaked in, and it's made it 2-0. Now back to Stacey, gets this one into the far side, and Martinelli has got there, and they have managed to pick themselves up a goal, and that is only his first goal of the season. What a time to get it, the last game. There we are. So let's have a look at some of the sort of, like, you know, results that are going on here. Where are we? Leicester 0-0 against Chelsea. We've got Watford 1-1, but there's a red card there to Fulham, so Watford could maybe capitalise on that. And Manchester City are losing to West Ham. Wow. Okay, and what's the draw's no good for Watford. The goal difference is in the favour of Manchester City. All Watford have to do is score a goal, and Manchester City are going out. They are losing 2-0 to West Ham. That is mad. That is really, really bizarre. Like, you know what I mean? So all Watford have to do now is get a goal with the time remaining in this game. Wow. So we need to keep an eye on that Watford game, because I've just seen now, just before our time, West Ham have made it 3-0. Man City just aren't wanting to stay in the Premier League. They are just literally getting, like, you know, all the Watford have to do is score a goal. It's all they have to do, like, you know what I mean? West Ham are now 4-0 up. Wow. It's all down to Watford. The other results are coming in there, and it's moving it down, like, so that's mad. Baptista is surging away down this right-hand side. Absolutely flying, and all I to do is just lay it into Verskogen there. Like, right, hold on, let's move this. So we've got the Watford game 5-0 to West Ham. What is Man City doing? If they still, then again, I'm just thinking about the goal difference now. It could be it could be like Man City could be going down even if Watford don't, like, win that. I'm just thinking about the goal difference. Ahoy plays it across. Verskogen scored. We're totally in control of this game. 3-1 now, as Verskogen's, like, got his second of the game. But the more important thing is, like, what is happening in, obviously, the Watford game. And then if West Ham can, like, keep scoring, Man City could go down here on goal difference, which would be absolutely bizarre. Great finish there from Verskogen, like, but yeah, like I say, we are, like, this game is important, right? It went off quick. Like, I'm just trying to maybe pause it so we can have a look. There's Woski running into the back of, I think it was Appleby there, like, you know what I mean? But Baptista's got the ball, and he's trying to get it into the box. Cruz now, like, gets it in. Verskogen's on a hat-trick. It's come to Appleby, and there we go. I mean, this game is done. We're, like, putting a show on, you know, for our fans, and why not? Like, they've been very supportive of us, and they're not going to be having to travel all the way up to Leeds, like, next season, because our new stadium, well, not our new stadium, but our extended, like, ground part of the stadium that you know, obviously the board have paid out for, that'll all be completed like next month, so we'll have that for next season. We'll be back at the Proac Stadium for next season. Watford are still 1-1, but Manchester City are losing 5-0. Has that put them? No. They're on They're on exactly the same on the goal difference. It's got to go on head-to-heads then. That's why Watford are still in the relegation zone. I mean, this has got to be... If Man City still survive out of this they've, like, literally... Watford are just idiots for like, you know, like, not, like, you know... The chance is right there. I mean, West Ham have done more than enough. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, West Ham could even get like goal 6. Could they get goal 6? Then obviously that's the difference. But like I say, Watford, all they have to do is score a goal. What's going? Watford have scored. Watford have just scored. Oh my word! And I think it's our former player Adam Lewis that is like that's actually scored from. But Watford have now scored. So Man City fans will be just they'll be listening sort of like, you know what I mean, like on, you know, sort of transistor radios, and they'll be listening on their phones and all sorts, like, you know what I mean. It was just like, but how is it all finished? But Watford definitely had scored. It said Lewis had scored. We've won this, no problem, 4-1. Let's see now, have Manchester City joined their counterparts, Manchester United, out of the football league, they've not got that much relegated, have they? Out of the Premier League, I should say. Wow. So Man City are down. They scored. They did score. So Watford would have had to have got that goal anyway. But like, yeah, because of the goal difference situation. But they managed to pull one goal back. But West Ham, they were on the line. I mean, West Ham were on the line. They did like what they had to do. Like, you know what I mean? They were like fighting for their lives. Leicester got a great result against Chelsea. They've won, like, you know what I mean, by 1-0. So Leicester sorted themselves out, you know what I mean, but Watford left it late. Adam Lewis, our former player, like, you know what I mean, and a former like Liverpool player, he has put Manchester City out. That is just the maddest season ever. Like, you know what I mean, I can't believe that those two teams were in Europe. They were playing in Europe because they finished in the, like, you know, in the top sort of 7 last season. How have they, like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? How have they, like, you know, fallen? So, well, we know, like, the managerial appointments, I think, has got a lot to do with it. It's not like they didn't have, like, you know, the good players. They had, you know, like, you know, class players still at the clubs and stuff. It wasn't like they sold off all their best players or anything like that. Well, they're going to have to now, because who's going to want to play? None of those big. They're going to have a massive clear out, because the wages of some of those players is going to be astronomical. They're not going to be able to, like, keep them on those sort of wages. Most of them won't want to play for those clubs because they're not in the Premier League and they're not in Europe. So will they come back? Well, I'm sure they'll come back up. Like, that's no problem. But there'll be very different looking sides coming back up for next season, or not next season, but the season after. But we will not be playing Fulham, Manchester United or Man City next season unless it's in the cups, like, you know what I mean? But that is just wow. Yeah, but there we are. That's the end of that. We hopefully you'll get to see some more football in the fact that we're going to, like, try and defend our FA Cup as we take on Newcastle in tomorrow's episode. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you're a Man United or a Man City fan, you probably haven't. But if you're anyone else, I am sure that everyone else is good, sort of grinning from ear to ear, like, I mean, seeing those two teams get relegated. But there we are. Wow. You take it easy, guys, and stay safe. And I'll catch you tomorrow for the FA Cup final. Dave from Mumongu Gaming signing off. Cheers.